All right, guys. This is KMKanDrum, and I have a very special guest. I don't think I even have to really say who it is. Once you see his face, you'll definitely know who it is. Beats by Jay. How's it going, Jay?
I am doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. So before we actually get started with the questions that I've written down, I want to ask you, um, how do you say your last name?
Okay. I have a little bit of a story behind that, but I say it and my father says it as O Zant. Just O and Zant. Now, everybody sees the little doohickeys above the O and they wonder, well, how is that pronounced? I only picked that up because after really reconnecting with my whole family over in Turkey, the last name is Turkish, by the way. After reconnecting with my family in Turkey, I saw that all of their names had those little dots over it. Up until that point in my life, never used them. So I'm like, well, I'm part of this family. I'm gonna use them too. Do I know what they mean? Absolutely not.
Great.
Do I know what how it affects the letter O? Nope. Does my father, who came from Turkey, even really understand it? Nope. It's just how it is. That's what I go with. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. And
It looks cool.
it just looks cool. Exactly. That's all it is. It just looks cool. So
Yeah, man. It's the same with me. Like so many people who meet me for the first time, they always wonder if I can speak Japanese. I'm like fourth generation Japanese. My parents don't even speak Japanese, so it's kind of a shame. I wish I did, but sadly, I don't speak Japanese. I don't have hardly any ties to Japanese culture. I'm as probably as American as you can come. So I'm with you there, man. Like I don't speak a lick of Japanese. You probably don't speak a lick of Turkish.
no, I don't. My father does. And
Oh, okay.
he should have taught me when I was young, dad, but he didn't, and that's okay. Whatever. Most of my Turkish family speak English, incidentally. You know, but and that's the question I actually have for you. I can tell from Kusamoto that you are Japanese by heritage. Do you still have family over there, and do you communicate with them?
If I do, I mean, I'm sure I do because I know that my grandparents would go back once in a while. But I don't really have any communication with anyone in Japan, relative wise. I do have relatives in Hawaii, and I have relatives in LA and Seattle. I've never actually been to Seattle, but I was born and raised in LA. Go back to LA all the time, so that's basically where most of my family is in Los Angeles.
You've never been to Japan?
I've been to Tokyo once.
How was it?
I love it. It's amazing.
Dude, that's my bucket list, man. I
Really?
am absolutely so fascinated with Japanese culture and everything. I mean, you can look behind me and see. You
Yeah.
know, that's like my bucket list, man. That's where I want to go so bad. And everybody says that, even though you don't speak a lick of Japanese, you will do just fine getting around in Japan, especially Tokyo, without speaking a lick of Japanese. That's where I want to be. So,
So
I'm just
if
saying.
yeah, I mean, I think pretty much anywhere that's got a hint of Western culture, you can go and find your way and because I've been to Tokyo. Actually, I've been to Tokyo and there's a town called Hakone. So if you ever take a tour to go see Mount Fuji, they usually take you through this city, Hakone. Interesting story. When I went on this tour, uh, it was snowy and the weather was really bad and it was so cloudy that I didn't get to see Mount Fuji like at all.
Oh
It
no.
was it was covered in clouds. The tour guide was like, "It's right there. It's right there." And you can't see it and we were so like bummed out. So I it's actually on my bucket list to go back because I really want to see Mount Fuji, but Tokyo is amazing. Like everything you hear about it, it's true. The food is fantastic. The transportation is punctual. It's on time. I mean, you go and you get a taxi and they have white gloves and they have these like automatic door openers. So it's just like it's weird, man. Like anywhere, any metropolitan city in Asia, to me, it feels like I'm flying into the future. And then when I fly back home, I feel like I'm kind of flying back into the past. It's just a strange feeling. I've been to Tokyo, been to Hong Kong, Shanghai, um, the whole Pearl River Delta area, where Hong Kong is, like Guangzhou and Shenzhen. All those cities are like super futuristic, and it's just it's an amazing thing. And I don't speak any kind of Asian languages or anything like that, and I got around fine. I think if you go, you'll do just fine.
Well, someday I'm gonna make it there. You're talking about all these places you've been, and I'm just like, what? How? What?
I've
You've
been,
been there? I've been out of this country once in my whole life, and it was to Canada. You know, I need to go places. But maybe someday. But I'm envious. That's awesome. That is so awesome. Japan on my bucket list for sure, and I would love to go anywhere over there because the food. I gotta go experience the food.
yeah, I mean the ramen, the sushi. It's like when you go to New York and you go to any pizza place and every pizza place is good. You go
Yeah,
to any sushi restaurant, any ramen place, it's good. It doesn't matter
and
where you
it's
go.
and it's gonna put anything we have here to shame, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you go learn some secrets so you can bring it back with you and cook at home because if you go out to eat ramen, it's not going to be the same.
Look where I live, man. There ain't no place that serves ramen around here
Yeah.
unless it's right from the Maruchan packet.
Oh man. Yeah, that stuff's oof. I don't even think I can eat a whole bowl of that anymore. It's so salty.
You're not wrong, man. But yeah.
All right, well let's start with these questions. So the first section I have the question. The first section is drum related, and I'm sure my audience is definitely going to want to know some of the things that you have to answer to these questions. First question, I ask everybody, how long have you been playing drums?
I probably that's a tough question to answer because how long have I actually been playing on drums? Probably since I was about 16. But I was probably around 9 or 10 the first time I took some sticks of balsa wood and started beating on things. I don't know, just was there. But I started playing around 16. I wanted to join like the high school jazz band just so I could get some kind of education behind it. But my parents weren't hearing anything about that. They were like, no, no, there will not be drums in this house. You're not going to do it. And the only times I ever got to play was if I ever had a friend of a friend who might have had a drum set, and I was like, can I play a little bit, please? Because everything I've ever learned, I just played by ear. I just heard and I played and I wanted to do it, and that doesn't mean I was always good, or even if I am good, but I just it started from very young and it just kind of manifested into this beast that took me over. And that's all I wanted to do. So as soon as I was out on my own, had a job, and me and some friends wanted to form a band, I was like, yes, this is going to happen. Boom, bought my first drum kit. Probably bought my first drum kit. I think I was 20,
Okay.
I think. I was like 20. My first own drum kit. It was a Mapex Mars. I loved that thing. I wish I hadn't sold it, but
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I hadn't sold my first kit too. I think being a drummer, being a musician, you go through life's not always peachy. You go through these peaks and valleys, and when you get to a valley, you kind of have to like sell the things that, to just make it to the next peak. So, I mean, that's the way it was for me. I don't know about you, but yeah, I've had to sell some things that I still had right now.
oh, absolutely. You're not a musician. Your instrument, your instrument is not a real instrument if it hasn't spent a little time at least in a pawn shop. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
oh, and this poor bastard, this Mapex spent a lot of time in the pawn shop, and it was to be fair, I kept putting it in, getting it back, putting it in, getting it back. I was that drummer back then. Sorry, uh, but there was this one time where the band was supposedly over, and I just sold it. I was like, it's done. I'm not no more.
Yeah.
A little later on, less than 2 years later, that band lured me back in, and it was like, okay, well, I guess it's time to buy another drum kit. So couldn't find that old one anymore. But yeah, I do. I really wish I'd kept it. That was because even the kit that I got after it, I mean, I don't know what it was, man. When Mapex first started out, they sold their drums really, really cheap. I think they still kind of do. But at least back in, I don't know how they are now, but back in like 93, when I bought this Mapex Mars, that thing was cheap and it sounded great. It sounded amazing. I couldn't get sounds that I was getting from that kit with my Tama that I got later on. So
Uh,
they just don't make them like they used to, as they say, I guess.
yeah.
But,
Yeah, I mean, the same can be said for DWs. When DWs first started being made, uh, they couldn't make a bad drum shell. Like every single drum was like amazing. And then fast forward 10 years, uh, now it's pretty hard. It starts to, it's you can feel the manufactured feel of the drums as opposed to the handmade versions.
yeah.
So, um, if I had to choose now, if I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go buy a new drum set now," it'd actually be pretty hard for me to buy a DW. I'd probably buy something else. There's a lot of like I'm on Instagram and there's all kinds of new drum companies coming out, and they all look really great. They're all being
Yeah.
handmade, and it just seems that like there's this one Cherry Hill drums that I've been following. They look and they sound amazing. I a little bit pricey, but geez, if I had money just to throw away, I would definitely buy some of their stuff.
Oh, and I agree. And that's where it's at now anymore, especially with the names is, if you're going to buy something that is quality, it's going to cost you. Because even though I just talked trash about Tama, Tama still makes really good kits, but they're only the Star Classics. The
Yeah.
Star Classics are the only ones from Tama that are handmade from beginning to end. They use the best quality wood, and a Star Classic Bubenga, all 5,000 some dollars of that drum kit that I would love to have. Um, Sounds amazing, but I had the Rockstar series, and this was back in the late 90s. It's all right. It's all right. That's the best you can say about it. It's all right. Enough tweaking in the studio with the board and EQ and effects and stuff like that. You could fake it,
Yeah.
but that natural sound that you'd get from say a 16-inch from a Thomas Star Classic Bubenga, that rich tone that you hit it once, no EQ, nothing, just a raw mic right on it, and you're just like, oh my god,
Yeah.
wow. So
Yeah.
if I ever do go back to an acoustic kit, that's what I'm getting. So considering how expensive it is, don't count on me going back to an acoustic kit anytime soon.
Yeah. Plus, like, I don't know, you've got your stuff dialed in. I think whenever I watch any of your videos, it's just man, you've got first of all, you got the whole package. You've got the drums, you've got the playing, obviously, but then you have the environment, the lighting, and the whole ambiance. Like you've got everything dialed in perfectly. So yeah, I don't know if I would mess with that. I think you gotta. I mean, you obviously have a good thing going, so I don't know, man. It's just seems like a whole lot more work that you would have to do to switch over to acoustic. Even though
And I agree.
you know most people like playing. I mean, most people that I've asked like playing acoustic better than electric, but it also is a lot more work.
Yes, it is, and it's a hell of a time to try to get the sounds that you get from drums. I mean, the way I'm saying it kind of makes it sound like I'm just taking an easy route. It's also a challenge to try to get these sounds that you get from Steven Slate drums and from Superior Drummer to make them sound really good. I mean, of course, yeah, you've got the best samples recorded by the best engineers in the best studios, but they're still raw samples. You know,
Yeah.
there's still things that need to be done with it to really make them sing. And I've had a lot of fun playing around with this. And I'm still using Superior Drummer 2. I don't know how familiar you are with the progression of the different types of E-drum samples that are out there, but there is now Superior Drummer 3, which is supposed to be supposedly 10 times better than Superior Drummer 2. And I'm looking at Superior Drummer 2, still using Superior Drummer 2, and saying, I don't know how it could get much better. This is pretty freaking awesome the way it is. But I'm also not willing to pay the $400 or so that it is to upgrade to Superior Drummer 3. But it leaves so many options open. Let me give you some. I'm sorry if I start to go into that hour-long answer that you were talking about. Feel free to shut me off. But one of the things, this is the me extolling the virtues of E-drums, is one of the things that I find really nice about it is that no matter what I choose to actually play whatever song I'm playing with, I can change it later.
Yeah.
Like, I might have a Schlesinger or snare while I'm recording and some DW toms. But if I decide later I don't like the sound of those toms, I can change them to a set of tamas, or I can set them or the snare. I can go to a Black Beauty if I wanted to, a Ludwig Black Beauty, or I can move into, say, a Tama Bell Brass. I can change that later by a click of a button. It doesn't change my playing. It's, some people might say, oh, you're cheating. Blah, blah. No, I'm just changing what instrument it was that I played from the beginning. So, and that has left me with so much freedom to just play around with whatever it is that I'm doing. And, beyond playing the drums, that's the fun part to me, is sitting down after it's all recorded and saying, okay, I've got all this crap. I've got 16 tracks of drums. I've got 5 tracks of video. Let's put them all together.
Oh my God. How I don't if you don't want to answer this, you don't have to, but how long on average does it take for you to from the time you sit down at your or maybe before to the time you upload a video on YouTube? How long does it usually take on average?
That is usually in clock time about 2 days. But
Okay.
as far as actual time, I'm sitting behind the desk probably about 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
Because usually what I'll do is, the first thing I'll do is I'll mix the music. I'll mix the drums, add the effects to the drums, bring it all together, completely master it, all the compression needed, all of the limiters and EQ, everything on the first day. And then, excuse me, usually by then I'll walk away and be like, okay, I am burned out on mixing. Tomorrow I'll come back and I'll edit the video. And that's where I'll throw everything in the editor and start piecing it together.
Okay, cool. What digital audio workstation do you use?
I use Reaper.
Reaper.
Nice.
What about the video editor?
It's Sony Vegas, but it's an older version. It's Sony Vegas 12. It's not capable of 4K. So, but
I mean, have you tried doing any 4K?
No, only one of my cameras can even do 4K. So
I've tried doing 4K on one of my videos, and to be honest, you can't really tell too much of a difference. I mean, there is a little bit of a difference, but there's not too much. But the difference is the upload time. It's like crazy how different it is. So it's not worth it, to me at least, to do 4K, because it takes 5-6 times longer to upload and work on things.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah, when I'm visually watching a 4K video versus a 1080p video, for example, I see literally very, very little difference, like slight. Maybe it's just a little bit sharper. Maybe I can make out that pimple on my face just a little better. That's what it comes down to. So I'm like, no, let's leave that pimple blurred and save, $6,000 or whatever it is, and hours of uploading.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Yeah, that was definitely a couple of tangents, but I love the tangents. I
Sorry,
love
sorry.
any no, don't apologize. Anytime you can go off and come up with different angles of the conversation, I love it because that's what makes these interviews unique. You know, if everyone just answered the questions that I'm asking, then it would be pretty much the same type of interview. So I love it when people, put their own spin on the questions.
I'm
But
gonna put a spin too because I'm probably the first that's gonna drink and smoke on your freaking interview too. So
uh
it wouldn't be me if I didn't. So
Jeff, I think Jeff Holden was drinking a beer. But he wasn't smoking, so you definitely be the first to smoke.
I bow to Jeff.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. So I had this next question. Always ask the drummers as well because I think it's a fun one. Uh, be Dr. Frankenstein, and if you can, take your favorite drummer's hands, your favorite drummer's feet, another favorite drummer's feet, someone else's heart and soul, and then someone else's mind, and combine them and make this monster drummer. Who would you pick?
That's a loaded question for the second question. Jesus. Okay. I think that's the way I'm kind of interpreting that is that is a if you could combine all your favorite drummers into one, who would it be? Because
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember whose hands and whose feet and other foot, but oh my goodness. Okay, I know this guy catches a lot of crap, but if I could capture the spirit of 1980s Lars Ulrich with the creativity of Tim Alexander and mix it with the raw energy of Chris, what's his last name? Drummer for Lamb of God, Chris Adler,
Okay.
and the one that I remember is the heart, and mix that with the heart of John Bonham.
Cool.
In my world, that would be the most amazing drummer that ever lived. And I think his name would be something like Jeff Porcaro. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the first covers I saw you do I know it was a Primus song. Was it Jerry was a race car driver?
I did that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Tim Alexander. That the first three or four Primus albums,
Oh my
unbelievable.
God, they were amazing, wasn't it? That drummer was really the one that when because those albums came out, like I said, in that period between when I was 16 to like 20 something, and I would hear this guy and I was just like, where did he come up with that for this song? This is amazing. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, give Les Claypool and Larry Lalonde all the credit for Primus that they deserve. But to me, the glue that made that band was Tim Alexander, and Primus was never the same after Tim Alexander left. So,
100%. Yep.
and yeah, so yeah, I've been blessed enough to actually get to see Tim Alexander play live once, and that's all I did. I didn't hear what songs they played. I just focused in on him.
Yeah.
Do it, bro. Do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's amazing. Him, I think was it Frizzle Fry was my first CD. And he actually because of his influence, he was influenced by Neil Peart. He got me into Neil Peart. So I went backwards. I went Primus first and then to Rush.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so he's definitely up there. He'd probably be on my list as well to make a Frankenstein drummer. But yeah, those are all awesome answers, man. I would love to see that drummer play whatever, anything.
Apparently he's back with Primus now, and I don't know if they're touring. I hope they are because if he's back with Primus, I think I'd go. So
That's a weird situation though, because Primus, I don't even know how many albums they did after he left, but it's almost like you're coming back to your original band and they've made like all this other material
yeah,
without you. You gotta learn. It's weird.
I think Les Claypool actually did an interview on that because the drummer who came in after Tim Alexander really had a hard time doing the Tim Alexander songs, but of course did the songs that he did very well. And then when Tim Alexander came back, he of course nailed all the songs that he wrote, but all the songs that were in between, he was just like, I can't do this shit. Excuse the language. I don't know if we're
No. Bring it
PG
on. I
rated
love
here.
it. No. Yeah, that's so crazy. Like how would you approach it if you I mean, not Primus, just like any band that you were in. If you would have left and they would have written 5, 6 albums worth of stuff and you came back, like how would you approach that? That's so weird.
The only way I could imagine is that, okay, of course I'm going to play the stuff I wrote back in the day, the way I did, but this new stuff. This is, I'm just being honest. I'm not going to try to sound like I'm some kind of, like, it's got to be my way or the highway. But if I'm coming back to a band and somebody else has written stuff, that's not a word, written stuff that I'm expected to play, okay, I'll play it, but I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do my best to try to stay true to the vibe of the song. I'm not going to do, 320 beats per minute, 16ths on the freaking bass drums in a song that, where that really doesn't belong. You know where I'm going with this, but
Yeah.
I think that's the only way I could do it is kind of add my own flavor. And from what I've seen of Tim Alexander playing the more modern Primus stuff that wasn't written by him, he kind of does that. That's the path he's kind of taken is, I'm still going to be true to the song, but I'm going to play it my way, which incidentally is the way I approach every cover I do on YouTube anyway. So
That's great. That was going to be my next question was
future boy right here.
Yeah.
I'm Hong Kong.
So yeah, so you like to take covers and kind of put your own little twist in there as well.
Just a little bit, not a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, I'm going to say it out loud. A lot of people kind of dance around this one. I do not want to be a Casey Cooper. I do not want to be that guy that just does a drum solo over every song he does. I want to do something that stays true to the song, but adds a little bit of me, just a little bit, enough where I'm there, and that's it.
Yeah. Totally. That's exactly how I am too. Usually the covers that I'm doing, the drummer is usually better than I am, so it's me dumbing down the song, if anything.
Don't say that.
It really is.
That's not okay. No, what you do is just as beautiful as anybody else out there. It's just as beautiful as what I do. As long as this is my theory, it's always been, as long as you're having fun and people enjoy what you do, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Damn the haters, damn the torpedoes. Who cares? Those thumbs down on my videos tell me that somebody cared enough at least to say, I hate this so much, I'm going to express my hate. And there it is. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the thumbs down. I don't know what you hated about it, but okay.
Yeah, people are strange, man.
You still watched it?
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, that's
I'm sorry.
I've
tangents everywhere. I'm sorry. I've got to put up some tangent repellent. Let you run this interview.
No way, man. The funny you say that. Actually, one of my only real I don't even know if it's really a negative comment, but I interviewed Sal, and someone commented on that interview saying that I talk too much about myself in these interviews. So I'm not going to run this interview at all. I'm going to let you run it, and I'm just going to ask questions. And if I have a little bit of tidbit here and there, I might come in and punch in for a little bit. But it's all you, man. I mean, you. I'm just glad that I'm talking to you. Yeah, yeah, you.
You're in trouble. You're gonna give this to me?
Oh yeah. Oh, cool. So I want to ask more, I guess, equipment type stuff.
Okay.
Now it's a little bit different because you're mainly on the E drums, but do you use wood or nylon tip sticks?
I've been back and forth between the two depending on the cymbals that I've been using. I know that's going to sound weird, but there was a period of time I used to use always nylon tip. When I was straight E drums, the straight Roland E drums with the rubber cymbals and the mesh heads, nylon tips lasted forever and they did less damage to the heads.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, nylon tip. Then I switched to Joe Becky, which had a mix of actual hard cymbals and uh, mesh heads. It got to a little bit of a difficult place because I was having this problem of, okay, the tips of the wood tips sticks were actually starting to splinter a little bit and they would wear out a hole in my head.
Yeah.
Whereas if I went to a nylon tip, the hard cymbals would constantly be cracking. I'd be playing and a tip would fly off that way right in the middle of a video. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
I've finally found the balance. I found some sticks and I found some heads that work well. And the cymbals that I have now aren't quite as hard. So now it is wood tip.
Hmm.
And
That's so interesting.
it just depended on how it was tearing my kid up, man. So
Yeah, it's a totally different angle. It's a different like how would you say it? It's just a different way of looking at how you use a stick. You know, like acoustic drums, it's all about the sound, whereas electric, it's more about what it's gonna do to your equipment. So it's a really eye-opening thing. I mean, I used to own a TD Roland TD3, so it had the one mesh snare drum, and then the rubber heads for the toms and the cymbals. And I hated it. I couldn't play it. You know, I would sit down and play, and I would hit the drums, and the sound that I wanted to come out didn't come out. It was a completely different sound, and I couldn't get around programming it to how like I played and my body like played the drums. So I
right.
just got frustrated and I sold it. And I've just only been playing acoustic drums for pretty much my whole life. So talking to you about electric drums, it didn't even occur to me that nylon tips would be better because the tips don't splinter like wood tips do, and then it would dig into the mesh and create holes.
Yep.
Yeah, it would never even occur to me. That's so foreign to me.
And there's a lot of differences. There's things that, each of the two sets. I mean, everybody likes to make this argument that one is better than the other. Well, electric drums are better. No, acoustic drums are better. I disagree with both. I think both are great and they both have their advantages and they both have their disadvantages. You know, of course, I think you talked about not being able to make the drums sound the way you want them to sound. That is a very difficult process, especially if you're just using the sounds from the module. It gets a little better as you start to move into samples. A little better. You still have to get in there and you have to change settings on your module. You have to change sensitivity, what kind of re-trigger canceling you have going on, and so forth. It's a science, you know, but you do get very good sound. But if you want the drum to do what you're intending it to do every single time, acoustic is the way to go. The drawback
Yeah.
with that is that you have to be able to mic it properly and mix it properly and add the right effects so that everything sounds great, you know. So it's tit for tat either way. They both
Yeah.
suck and they both rule. You
Yeah,
know,
totally. Yeah.
that's what it comes down to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just gotta pick your poison. Like I'm actually really lucky at the house that I'm in now. The basement's soundproof, so I can set up acoustic drums and not have to worry about neighbors or anything like that. So that's another thing to think about, you know, like if you're a kid living in an apartment, probably your best bet is to go the electric drum route.
Yep.
And, you know, like it's there's so many different like things that you can put into the equation of what to go and what to use and whatnot. And in an ideal situation, you use both, right? Like maybe in my bedroom, I'll have an electric kit, and in my basement, I'll have an acoustic kit, and find the best of both worlds.
That's kind of what I'm doing right now. Is I have mixed the best of both worlds. I have started to add, well, granted it's only one right now, but I've started to add acoustic instruments to the electric kit because I got so fed up. I mean, it's 2019, man. We should we should have figured out the hi-hat thing by now. But nobody has. Nobody. Not even the best of them. Roland still hasn't figured out how to make a natural sounding hi-hat on any of their modules, even the TD50 with the HH13 or whatever the hell it's called. I don't know. So I gave up. I just said, I quit. I quit. I'm buying a real hi-hat. I'm going to buy a microphone for it and I'm going to mix that in. And it has, in my opinion, added a new dynamic to what I'm doing. And it sounds better. You know, what I'm doing on the hi-hat is exactly what I hear versus what I used to have to do, which is kind of, you know, well, if I know that if I hit the hi-hat right here at this particular spot, it's going to make this sound. And if I hit it here, it's going to make this particular sound. So I have to remember all these little zones on the hi-hat where stuff is going to happen versus, you know, what we're all taught as drummers, bell, bow, edge, you know.
Yeah.
I'd rather go with bell, bow, and edge. Thank you. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how it must be. I mean, obviously, I'm stating the obvious, but it must be extremely difficult to nail that down because, yeah, every time I hear an electric set, usually what gives it away is the hi-hats or sometimes the toms, like rolling on the toms. You can kind of tell that they're electric
Yeah.
drums.
They have that kind of 80s sound. You know, I know what you're talking about. I really do.
All right, well, cool, man. Obviously you're into Tim Alexander, so I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question, but uh, who knows? Do you use a double pedal or a single pedal?
I use a double pedal.
And is that predominant or is that just like whenever you need it?
It's it's now evolving into whenever I need it. I used to really rely on it heavily, even for very simple double strokes, just dun dun. I used to just go ahead and use 2 feet, dun dun, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's teach the right leg to do more. So, you know, now in those instances where even in, you know, a lot of these Metallica songs where you have that steady,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used to do it 2 feet. Now I'm training myself to do it 1-footed, and the results have been a little questionable at times, but at least I'm taking the efforts to get there. But no, I always a double pedal. I was raised on you know 70s classic rock, hard rock, metal, 80s metal, 90s metal, and on and up. I'm a very much enshrined in the you know guttural the guttural stuff. You know, the stuff that people find ridiculous. You know, not quite to the you know Cookie Monster vocals, but close, close.
Yeah. All right. Okay, what about this one? Do you use a metronome or an internal clock?
Internal, internal clock.
Nice. Ever used a metronome before?
I do use a metronome in select areas, and it's not for the duration of a song. It is, I will use a metronome, first of all, if a song starts off with drums. I will use a metronome to count me down to where it starts.
Yeah.
Secondly, if there is a long pause in the middle of a song where the timing kind of gets a little bit wonky, that's a place where I will, okay, I want to do a 4 count down to whatever it is where the drums actually do come back because it can get a little messy if you don't. And of course, I remove those in post. You know, it's a little secret right there. Don't tell anybody. You know, because otherwise it looks like I've got this amazing timing. But no,
Yeah.
no, no. If there's this long break where there's all kinds of weird crap going on and the drums suddenly pop back in, no, I didn't memorize that. I had a 1, 2, 3, 4. Now.
Oh man. Yeah, I think if if I talk to most drummers, they would probably say the same thing. I do the same thing. If there's a long pause or especially beginnings of songs, I definitely need that count off. Otherwise,
Yeah,
who knows, man?
I think we all do. Of course, there's those songs that have those very obvious intros where there's like this guitar part, and then the bass comes in. There's a couple lines from the vocalist, and then boom. Well, you know where to go. You don't need that 4 count. But there's other
Yeah,
ones where right from the beginning of the song, it's 1, 2, 3, and how are you ever gonna know that's gonna come?
yeah,
Without it. So if you think
totally.
if you think we're cheating, whatever.
Hey, man, trust me. If I did it without it, you would want me to do it with it. So,
Same.
all right. Well, let's see. If if you could play on any one famous drummer's drum set, whose would it be?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, I'm gonna answer that with something you probably didn't expect because everybody knows I'm a big Lars fan, but I'm not gonna say Lars's kit. The kit that I would like to most get behind and just figure out how it freaking works, just because I've seen this guy play live, and I was sure listening to this band's albums that he was just layering stuff in the studio. And then I saw this band live, and I was like, oh wait, he's not. This is amazing. How is he making this happen? And that is Danny Carey of Tool.
Yeah.
That kit is there's so much going on that I would be it would be a big honor for me to sit behind that tall guy's kit and just figure out how he's doing what he's doing live. Like I said, live, I thought all this stuff was layered. Nope, he's playing it. All of it, everything going on, boo, 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 hands everywhere, and I'm just like, he's the kind of guy that makes a drummer want to quit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Him and Tim Alexander. Those two were my favorite growing up. Tool and Primus were, yeah, they were the ones that really like. I was just kind of like playing drums and whatever, and then when I heard those guys, I was like, oh wow, like you can really do all of that with drums.
Yeah.
I really got to step up my game. Otherwise, it's either try to follow that and and be as good as you can, or you're just kind of, I don't know, like in their dust.
Yeah.
So that's they
Well,
really like, when you in sports, it's like you always try to play with the better people because they're gonna make you better. I kind of took that same mentality where I heard these guys, and in order to get better, you just gotta play better stuff, and they helped me get to another level in drumming wise.
I love that you say that because that's kind of like how I've taken my whole YouTube career is kind of taking stepping stones, is building up to these songs that I once thought were impossible. They were my I don't even know the terminology I want to use for it. They were kind of my Everest or whatever. My
Yeah.
Everests, plural Everests, you know. And I've been blessed enough to be able to tackle a few of them, but my wife is one of the ones that keeps coming to me because she's a huge Tool fan, and she's like, "Why don't you play some Tool?" And I got to be honest with her, and I'm like, "I'm not ready for Tool. I'm not there yet."
Yeah.
Danny Carey is freaking crazy. Now, I could probably pick out some really quick and simple. There are some that are relatively simple to play, Tool song, but that's not what I'm going for. I'm talking about the Everests. The Everests. I want to be able to play Jambi. I want to be able to play Vicarious. I want to be able to, oh.
Yeah.
And those are ones that every time I've ever sat behind the kit and tried to play, I get like, not even 12 bars into it before I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
Not ready. Need some
Yeah.
more training, need some more something, whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, damn it. I did two prison sex and another one. But yeah, they were like the easy ones. Not difficult at all. I think, was it Anima that I tried to do? No. The one where he has his famous polyrhythm hi-hat beat. That was like the hardest thing I've ever done on YouTube. And I like just barely was able to do it. But yeah, man, if I tried to do any of the other higher tier Tool songs, there's no way. I would probably 5 bars in, I would probably just throw my sticks.
Danny Carey's an animal. That's just all there is to it. And at this stage in my drumming career, we're gonna leave Danny Carey to do Danny Carey. You know, maybe someday I might be brave enough, but a big part of it too, I'm not gonna lie, is that an electronic kit kind of limits you to what sounds you can get. There's all kinds of stuff going on. He likes to throw in, congos, bongos, and joom jooms and stuff like all kinds of African and Latin percussion stuff into the songs that are really difficult to get unless I decide to put this whole array of pads on the side of my drum kit. That would it's not I couldn't do it. I could get back there and fake it as best I could right now, and I would probably walk away from it feeling like, yeah, that was garbage and I'm about to release garbage. So
Yeah. I mean, he also likes to use all parts of the snare, right? Like he'll use rim knocks. He'll use the snare with the snares on and the snares with the snare with the
mhm.
snares off. And it's like, how do you even do that without like two different pads at least?
Yeah.
So you get the snare and then you do the toms. The toms, he like does all this crazy stuff too. And it's just like, forget it.
Oh, he's got a third arm somewhere that's controlling this stuff, and it's probably under those basketball shorts. Oh, what's that? Wait, sorry, never mind. Erase. You're gonna edit this, right? No,
Nope,
I'm kidding.
not at all, man.
Nope, not at all. Sorry.
It's staying.
It's on the internet forever.
Cool, man. Yeah, I would definitely love to hop on that kit. Although I'm pretty short, so I probably wouldn't be able to. It'd be like putting a 5-year-old on a regular drum kit.
Dude, I'd feel the same way. I'm 6 foot. Danny Carey's what, like 6'6", 6'7"?
I think he's 6'7". Yeah.
He's huge. And yeah, I would probably be like, what's like, his hi-hats right here for him would probably be like, I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, he puts it in the center of his drums now. So that's another thing. He's always evolving. He's always changing it. That's why I was kind of like, I'd like to see what he's playing now and what he did with it and how he makes it happen. That's where that whole answer came from. So again, tangent world, went off on this whole thing and we're rounding back. We've come full circle. We're back at Danny Carey's kit that I wanted to play because I want to know how he's making all that magic happen, because that guy is magic.
Yeah, he really is. He's amazing. Um, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to be on stage or in the studio?
Stage. Absolutely stage.
No hesitation. Wow.
It has been so long since I've been on a stage too. And it's sad, And even, this is of course where I live probably has a lot to do with it. The only offer that I've had to be in any band since I've started this whole YouTube thing is a little, cover band that plays on Fridays in Ordway. And I'm seriously thinking about taking that gig just because I can play to those 12 people that might enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Stage is fun, man. That's actually where the magic happens. And I'm drooling over myself. Good Lord. Thank God it's not 4K.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. So yeah, okay. Well, when was the last time you were on stage?
1999, I think it was, when my last, maybe it was later than that. Maybe it was 2000. It was either 99 or 2000. Anyways, a long damn time ago. Our band, we had moved to Austin, Texas to make it big. We found out when we got to Austin, Texas that everybody had different ideas about what direction the band should go. So we were on our ways out, but sadly we were on our ways out as we were starting to shoot up, because we had gotten an invite. There was this cable access channel. I know that doesn't sound too exciting, but there was this cable access channel in Austin that featured nothing but local music. And it was kind of a big deal to get asked to be on that show. And they gave you a full hour of live TV to play your set. That's what we did. And we actually went into that show knowing that it was going to be our last show. which is
Wow.
horribly sad. But at the same time, it was like, okay, we went out on a high note, you know.
That's true.
And
Wow.
I miss it though. I really do. I miss playing the stage so much. It was just always so much fun. Did I just turn off my camera? I did. I don't know how I did that. That was I hit something on my keyboard and suddenly the camera was gone. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
Oh, you never know what you're gonna see in these interviews, man. I love it.
Again, live.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Let me see if I have one more question. Uh, oh yeah, why drums?
Why drums?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the best answer I could give. I don't know, man. Like I said, from a young age, there was just like the best way I've always described it is there was just a beat in my soul. It just felt good. The drums were always the instrument in any music I ever heard that sang to me, and I wanted to sing back. And that's what I did. I started picking up, like I said, 2 pieces of balsa wood. That's not a fake story. I literally picked up 2 pieces of balsa wood and took a little pocket knife and whittled tips onto them and
Wow.
started beating pillows and bedspreads and chairs and whatever I could, just playing along with the songs I love, and it just stuck. And as soon as that took root in me, that's when my friends started to notice, like, dude, you're kind of a weirdo. Maybe we should start a band or something. And that's where it all kind of started from. And as time went on, you know, got the YouTube channel going by accident and started to share what I do just out of fun and started to see how many people it was reaching, you know, people like you. And I'm not, you know, I'm nothing special. I'm really not. I'm just somebody that does what he loves. And I'm hoping that that's what people are hanging on to whenever they're tuning in to see what I do, because that's all it is. It's just a labor of love. And what I really hope for, because my rock and roll aspirations at the age of 45 that I am now are pretty much long gone. But if I can inspire that kid that is just starting out to say, you know what, I want to pick up the drums, I want to play the drums, and I want to, you know, be the best I can. If I played any small part in that, just like me playing one of their favorite songs or something like that, that's the satisfaction I'll walk away with right now. So there it is, guys. You know, I'm not anybody special, but I'm willing to help anybody be special. That was the
Ah,
dumbest one-liner ever.
so that's so nice. It's so romantic.
No, it was dumb. It was dumb. I don't know where that came from. Probably the whiskey.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good segue into the next section. So the next section, I'm actually really interested because we talked a little bit yesterday, and you, I had heard from one of the other drummers that you are a prison guard. So I asked you about that, and yesterday you said that you really enjoy your job. You really enjoy where you live in. Um, so this section is actually kind of like a role playing thing where I play an interviewer interviewing someone who's looking for a job. And the first question I always ask, and you'll get it once I ask the question, but the first question I ask pertains to the rest of the questions. So I'll just answer it. I'll just ask it now, and then it'll just make sense. So, what is your dream job? And this kind of goes to what we were talking about yesterday. Is what you do your dream job, or do you have like an actual dream job?
No, this what I do now is not my dream job. I'm happy with my job, but it's not a dream job. The dream job would be doing what I love, playing the drums, and somehow making a living off it. Now, I don't have to be a millionaire, you know. I don't have to make, you know, be one of these guys that's a big, huge, famous rock star. I'd be happy to do sessions, you know, and still be able to make good money. That's where I'd be happiest.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So every question that I ask from now on, answer as if you were applying for your dream job
Oh,
of being a
geez.
session drummer.
Okay.
So it should be pretty easy. The first one should be actually really easy. What are your strengths?
My strengths are timing, being able to memorize a song in a very short period of time, and probably being able to hear certain nuances in what you're doing with the song in terms of, are you, I'm going to kind of go back to the Casey Cooper reference. So, are you adding too much? Are you adding too much? Or are you complimenting it? I think, I have uh, that ability. And I think that's where whoever is hiring me is going to respond.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. If I was a songwriter or a guitar player or a singer or whatever, I think the last thing I would want is a drummer who is just like playing ridiculous things that don't need to be there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, absolutely. And I don't need to say his name again. There's somebody who does that. I don't want to take too much away from the guy because the guy obviously has amazing chops. He really does. But that's all we see from him is the chops. We don't see soul. And that's what I think me and many others, not just me, many others in this whole community offer is the soul, the heart behind, this is what I'm doing and this is what I have to offer. But at the same time, you got this great song. You want something that kind of makes it flare a little bit. So you don't just want to do a simple 4/4 through the whole thing. I mean, not everybody is as good as Tom Petty, right? Where you can get away with that. But
Yeah.
it's, I mean, a monkey can do that. But if being that monkey pays, $50,000-$60,000 a year, I'm your monkey.
Awesome. Okay, well, what about weaknesses? What are your weaknesses?
Double foot pedals. I think that I actually really do find that is one of my weaknesses. I have the ability to be able to do quick bursts of really fast doubles but try to sustain that for any length of time and it's gone. That's one of the reasons why some of the songs on my Everest list are still untouched, even though I can nail all these songs all the way up until they get to that part where there's just like this, it could be 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds worth of a sustained, you know, uh, 250 beats per minute, 16th note, double bass roll. Can't do it. Can't do it. Also, another weakness is, if I'm really being honest with myself, is this is hard for me to admit, but sometimes I really do have a hard time admitting that whatever I did was wrong and doesn't fit the song.
Huh.
Sometimes that happens, and someone has to tell me and school me, and I have to walk away for a little bit and come back and revisit whatever was recorded before and listen to it 10 times before I'm like, yeah, that kind of is shit, isn't it? All right, I'll do it over.
So that's interesting because is that something that you kind of had to come to terms with, or have you always known that you were kind of, I guess, stubborn in a way of admitting that you were wrong? Is that something that kind of evolved over time and with more comments on your channel and stuff like that?
Probably more evolved, you know. I'm one of those guys that when I started out my YouTube channel, I didn't take well to criticism, even if it was constructive. Not one of my finest moments, but over time, I learned to start listening to what people said, even if the criticism didn't make sense. Sometimes it doesn't. People will just hate on your stuff or whatever. Over time, I learned to just be able to laugh. And something I said on my interview with Mike Luke was, now when people trash my videos on YouTube, I'm more likely to just be like, my comment back to them will be like, yeah, this guy freaking sucks. What are you talking about? This guy is awful. You know, it's part of a defense mechanism. Obviously, it kind of shuts them down and takes them back for a minute because they're expecting somebody to fight with them. But also, there is a genuine acknowledgement of, well, maybe there's something I could have done better. I'm not the greatest drummer that ever was. I'm not even close Not even close. So when somebody says, hey, here's something you could do better, I should probably perk my ears up, even if it ultimately in the end turns out that they're wrong.
Exactly.
No, I
All
mean
right.
that. Sometimes
No,
they're
yeah,
wrong.
totally.
Sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes they're right, but I got to be able to at least inspect it with a fair mind before I can make that assertion.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I wish more people did that with everyday life situations. I think the world would be a better place. Like just open your mind to a person, even if they're wrong. Make sure that they're wrong, and then you can go about your day
Exactly. And it's
because
not
you never know; they could be right.
and it's not even necessary to point out that they're wrong. Like I said, I'll agree
Yeah,
with people. Even though I've already decided, well, you're wrong. I'll still be like, yep, this guy, this freaking guy, he sucks. And just go about my day. Like you said,
yeah,
no sweat off my back. I'm happy. He's happy. We're all good.
yeah. Awesome. Okay. Um, are you afraid of confrontation, or do you take it straight on?
Not anymore. You mentioned my job.
Yes.
I used to be very afraid of confrontation until I had this job. Once I got this job, I got very used to confrontation because let's face it, the people I work with are very confrontational. So, um, I think the thing that I would like anybody to take away from that lesson, if you go from non-confrontational to being willing to face confrontation, I'm not confrontational, but if someone's going to confront me, I won't back down. That's what my job has taught me. And what I want the takeaway to be from that is that you can still be polite and nice and professional or whatever the term is you want to use and still be like, no, that's the final answer. No, I don't agree with you. I don't, I'm not giving in to your demands, blah, blah, blah. So, you can be that person and still be able to say no.
Yeah, totally.
Because I don't, as far as if the question was, do I like confrontation? Hell no.
Yeah.
Who does except for the drunk Irishman? You know, that's a stereotype, leave your hate mail below. But, yes, there's people that look for fights. I don't look for fights, but anymore, people who were looking for fights would come to me and I'd be the first to back away. Now I'm just like, okay, I'm going to stand my ground at least, you know.
Yeah.
I may get my ass kicked. I may not. I don't know, but I'm not going to let you push me around.
Got it. All right, cool. How about mentors? Um, this is more like a personal mentor question, not Hollywood or music stars or anyone like out there. Like, do you have anyone close in your life that has mentored you?
Well, first and foremost, because she's supported me so much through everything I've done, all of the BS that she's had to put up with, my wife, shout to her. But as far as mentors that, people who have kind of helped shape who I am as a drummer, I really look to others in the community. Some of these names you might know, some you may not. But Paulie G from
Oh yeah.
Australia.
Hmm.
He's been with me since the early years, and we kind of feed off of each other. It's really kind of a weird relationship we have because the first thing we do with each other after we see any of each other's videos is trash each other, but then leave lots of very positive comments saying "Love you, bro. We're just playing around." Um, Another one who has been very much an influence to me is Sal D'Amato. You said you interviewed him.
Yep.
He has been the most pure soul that I have met on YouTube. As far as just I'm doing what I do. I'm gonna play everything from classic rock and roll to contemporary Christian, and I'm gonna do it well. And if you don't like it, so what? And anytime I've ever had a question about anything, because he was using things like superior drummer way before me. So if I had questions, I didn't get like short one sentence answers. I would get a full paragraph from this guy about this is how you do it. You know, I'm like, wow, man, this guy actually really cares about the community. And another one who has been an influence to me, this is, and it's just his energy and his enthusiasm for the community, is Tony Hamalainen.
Mm-hmm.
I love that guy. He's my squatchy. And everything he does, no matter what it is he does, he's kind of faded from the community a little bit lately. But overall, his enthusiasm, his energy, just it's inspiring to me. It really is. He gets behind those drums after all he's been through. If anybody knows his real backstory, you'd understand where I'm coming from with this. But when you know his backstory to where he was to where he is now, you're just like, man, this guy is Superman. I want to be like him. So, yeah.
Cool.
Mentor.
That's awesome.
I don't know who else I can really think of off the top of my head. Like I wasn't prepared for that, but I'm sure there's many more. You know, Justin Greenwald from 65 drums, yo. That guy is the genius of E-drums, and he's another one that anytime I've ever had a question or you know a concern or I was just like, you know, how is this product? Again, gives a straight answer right through the board, not a one sentence answer. Really takes care of the community, and he's the kind of example that I want to live up to.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean those are all great mentor questions because basically what a mentor is teaches you the right way to do things so that you can teach others the right way to do things as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
After hearing that, I stand by my answers.
Great. Okay, last question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see myself in the year 2024.
Nice answer.
Because I don't know. No, that's actually, to a certain degree, actually a serious answer because I learned a long time ago, don't count on anything. The world is always changing. Your life is always changing. Things are always changing. I can have a plan that I want to follow to the end. That path might not lead to where I want it to go. So on the superficial level, as far as where do I see myself in 2024, 5 years from now, probably doing exactly what I'm doing now with maybe a few more subscribers, and I'll be a hell of a lot more uglier because I'll be that much older. But I will still see myself trying to be supportive of the community as long as the community will have me, and you know, just living life, man. Take a day to day. It's hard. I don't know what I'm going to be doing 3 days from now or 5 days from now, much less 5 years from now. So yeah, that's a hard question. That's a very difficult question.
Well, hopefully within that time period, you visit some of those places that you want to go and visit.
Japan. I want to go to Japan so bad. Start a GoFundMe. Send Jada to Japan.
Oh yeah, I'll pitch in a couple of bucks for that.
Yeah, you know, the problem is that campaign will end with me having $100 and having to give it all back because it's gonna easily be about $5,000 for me to go to Japan. But someday it'll happen.
Yeah, man. It's like I don't know if you've ever been to Paris, but the first time I went to Paris,
Canada. I already said it. Canada. That's
okay. So let me
except
tell
when
you.
I was a baby.
Yeah, because you're traveling around.
I was in the Azores. So
the first time I went to Paris was with my wife. My wife wanted to go. She wanted to go, and I was under the assumption of like, oh, it's Paris. You know, everyone talks about how great Paris is. Paris. It's like, to me, it was just so built up. So I was like, okay, finally, you know, we're going to Portugal. We might as well just hop over and go to Paris. So kill two birds with one stone. So we go to Paris. and it's better than anything that I've ever heard.
Really?
So all these people talking up Paris every time any one of my friends go to Paris, it's the best thing in the world. So I'm like, oh, how great can it possibly be? When we actually go there, it was better than anything I'd ever heard.
That's amazing. Because all I've ever heard about anywhere in France is that if you don't speak the language, you're going to starve.
No, totally not true. Totally not true.
Oh, okay. Well then, well, props to the Frenchman then. I guess I'll have to, because I would love to go to Europe. There's so many places in Europe I want to go. It's just that Japan is number one on the bucket list. Just like,
So where I was going with that was
so,
Tokyo, Japan. Same thing. Everyone's obviously my family's Japanese. Most of my family has gone to Japan, and they all have nothing but good things to say. So it's built up in my mind. Same thing. I go there, it's better than I could have ever imagined. So, you know, I can talk as much as I want about it, and you can hear so many great stories. But when you actually finally go, I think you're gonna be even more blown away than you could possibly imagine.
I'm, you don't have to sell me on that concept because I've been hyping myself up for Japan for years, and I could just go to a freaking McDonald's in Japan and have one of those dishes that only a Japan McDonald's has, and be like, "Oh, I'm in Japan." Much less the actual authentic ramen, authentic sushi, and being able to take these tours of Mount Fuji and run around Tokyo and see all the places that I've seen in all my favorite animes. And, you know,
Yeah, man.
amazing. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Damn it. I'm gonna go.
Just take your camera with you.
Yes. Dude. If I do go and I'm still doing this YouTube channel, there's gonna be like a daily live vlog, you know, of, and every single one of them will start with me looking into the camera like, dude, I'm in, I'm in Japan.
Yeah. I think people would watch just for that.
Probably, probably. Like, okay, I just tuned in to hear him say, dude, I'm in Japan and I'm out. But that's okay. That's okay because that experience would be for me. I don't know. I can't begin to explain it. It's a fascination with a culture that I've never been in and I want to experience it. So
Yeah, it's crazy. It's there's so there's something about the Japanese people. And even I'm Japanese, but I'm not Japanese. It's weird. It's like I'm like a couple of steps removed.
you
Like
got
there's
some,
certain
you've got a lot of America in you, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of America going on in here. So when I went and I see how they live their life, how they're like so polite and clean and punctual and basically what Americans aren't. Americans are loud, they speak their mind, they're very touchy. Japanese people are the exact opposite. They're quiet, they're polite, they respect each other's space, even though it's like, what, 20 million people in Tokyo?
Yeah, they
You go
don't have a
to,
lot of space, but they respect it. That's awesome.
yeah, it's crazy. It's like, so if you ever want like a breath of fresh air, go to Tokyo and then you see like, oh, how great it is. But then, after about a week, you kind of are like, I miss home. You come back home and it's the devil, right? It's like all the loudness. I missed all the football and the crazy stuff
Yeah.
back here at home. So it's good to just kind of get away. It's like almost when people go to Hawaii or the Caribbean to just get away and veg out. If you want to get away but not have to do the beach thing and veg out, but actually experience a different culture, Japan's a good place to go and kind of just get that breath of fresh air because life is so different, and you come back and you almost feel like, okay, I can get back into the American grind.
That sounds very refreshing to me, because I love this
Yeah,
country.
it's cool.
It's not something I want to go live in Japan, because then I'd have to learn Japanese, and that's just way too hard for me.
Yeah.
But to go there and experience that place, and to be able to come home and lay in the comfort of my own bed and say, yes, I've been there. I experienced it. And I found it interesting that you said that one of the three things that was most striking is polite, because I haven't even been there. And that's one of the things that strikes me, is that is a very polite culture. They take care of each other and they respect each other. And, you know, I don't, this is not me going political. I'm just saying, like you said, that's something that maybe something we could take to heart a little bit, is to be more polite and respect each other's space, their opinions,
Yeah.
their
R-
their way of life, and so forth.
Respecting opinions, I think, is probably the most important thing right now. Uh, yeah, I'm getting too much into it.
No, don't read too deep into it. What's next? What's next? What's next?
So next is the actual the section where I just kind of ask some get to know you questions. One of the questions is actually uh, a place you want to go to. So we've kind of already answered that question.
Many times over. Japan.
Yeah. So I want to get into some of these other
If she isn't
silly
real,
questions.
if I can't actually really meet her when I go to Japan, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay. Anastasia's real, isn't she? Isn't she?
I think I've seen like 10 of those in um what's the there's a section in Japan where it's like anime crazy. I think it's Shinjuku. It's either Shinjuku or I'm gonna have to look it up, but there's like a town that is like all about anime. So when I find it out, I'll send it to you, and then
Okay.
you can go and check out all the anime stores there and plan your trip for between now and 5 years.
I'll visit all the manga shops, bro. All of
Nice. Nice.
them.
Alrighty, so let's see. Some silly get to know you questions. Are you a beer or a wine guy? Obviously, you're drinking whiskey, so it seems like you're a whiskey guy.
I'm kind of a whiskey guy, but if I had to choose between wine and beer, it would definitely be beer. Wine, this see, the tough whiskey guy is about to say that he gets headaches from wine, and I do really bad. I do not like wine. So, but given the choice between the two, yeah, it's going to be beer. But I'm kind of I won't say connoisseur, but I appreciate good whiskeys.
Nice. What about sports? Do you play any sports?
Used to, not anymore. As a teenager, I was a hardcore skater. I was a skater boy. Said, "See you later, boy." But also, I really liked football, and I played baseball.
Nice.
Nowadays, I play armchair quarterback.
Ah, cool.
Yes. Yeah.
What is your team the Broncos?
Of course. Of course.
Right.
Yeah. And don't give me hell for it. I know better than anybody that we suck. Okay. We really suck right now. Things haven't been good since we lost Peyton Manning. So
Yeah, it's crazy. I grew up in LA, so all well, for the
are you
first,
good?
I think,
Wait. Are you about to say you were a Raiders fan?
no, my dad took me to a Raiders game when I was 10 years old. And a Raiders fan, I witnessed a Raiders fan throw a glass bottle at, I don't even remember what the other team was, but their fan. So it broke on his head. There's glass in his skull. Typical Raiders fan, right? So me being 10 years old, I was like, oh my God, screw this team. I'm not going to root for them. I'm not going to be a hooligan like them. So, and then
Thank
both teams
you.
left.
He said it. He said it. Raiders fans are hooligans. Eat that, Raiders fans. There is a special hatred for the Raiders amongst Bronco fans. So just so you know.
But then like I moved to Philly, and the year that I moved was the year that they won the Super Bowl. So it was like a couple years ago. So now there's Eagles mania going on. I mean, they're always into their Eagles here, but ever since they won, it's like been on 11. And yeah, so all my friends out here, they all cheer for the Eagles, and I'm kind of just like lost in the whole football thing because I kind of grew up without any football teams. Me, I was always like a Lakers guy, a Dodgers guy, and a Kings guy, and football was just never really around. So
See, I never really got into basketball. I got into baseball, and I'm into hockey too. I mean, I know you guys have the Flyers. You know, are you a
yeah.
Flyers fan?
No,
Or
no,
no?
I'm all LA teams, so LA Kings, LA Dodgers, LA Lakers.
No. No, you would think that because I live in Colorado that I'm an Avalanche fan. Nope. Detroit Red Wings. Go
See,
Wings.
I'm actually a Wings fan also, even though they
What?
like, yeah,
Dude,
they.
are you my brother? Are you my brother?
I mean, how can you deny those teams in the '90s with Iserman and Fedorov and
Hell yeah.
so good.
Steve Yzerman, Sergei Fedorov, Igor Konstantinov. I mean, that
Yeah,
was the team, man. That was the team. Of course, we haven't seen anything like that since then, but still, I am a diehard Red Wings fan. So
awesome. I mean, there's a couple of guys on the team now that I really like. Anthony Mantha and Dylan Larkin, I think those two guys.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
But yeah,
they've got potential now, but it seems like every year now it's like uh, what is it? The St. Louis Blues all the time, always. You know, I don't know, but sports. Anyways, a roundabout way of saying that the sports that I'm most into are football, baseball, and hockey. That's
well,
kind of
so who's your baseball team?
the Rockies. They
Rockies?
they suck too, but I'm true blue. I've been there since their beginning when they still played their baseball games at the same place the Broncos played way back then at Mile High Stadium before they had Coors Field, you know.
Wow.
And you know,
I
we had
mean,
we had one moment of excitement a few years ago where we went to the World Series and got our asses handed to us, but you
yeah.
know, we got there.
Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite players is Nolan Arenado. I think that guy is unbelievable. Awesome. What is he? Third base? Third baseman?
I think yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, he's. I wish he was on the Dodgers actually. All right. Well, let's see. Do you have a favorite movie?
Yes. Almost any movie released from 1981 to 1989. That's a
Hmm.
very vague answer. No, okay. A favorite movie. God, I can't pick a favorite, but if I had to pick a few that are among my top movies ever made, I'd have to say things like Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Goonies, um, Aliens. Oh, that was
Mhm.
um, you know that kind of genre. And I hate to have to be like that guy that's like, I'm stuck in the 80s. Well, yeah, I am because anymore there's nothing original coming out of freaking Hollywood anymore. They are just rehashing all the old stuff. The stuff I just
Yeah.
mentioned, they're making remakes of because in their little feeble minds, the original wasn't good enough somehow. No, it really was. You know, if I have to stretch beyond the 80s, I would say things like the original, the first Steven Spielberg directed Jurassic Park. Um, oh God, what else was it great? Monty Python and the Holy Grail, a
Yeah.
classic from the 70s. You know, you actually said the phrase a little earlier about going to 11. Yep, that's from this is Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
The only
One of my
Rob,
favorites.
the only Rob Reiner film I can appreciate because that was fucking badass. Okay. Oh, I said the F-bomb. Okay, you might have to bleep that later. But
There's no bleeping going on, man.
no
No bleep.
bleeping. Okay, that's fine. Um, as far as newer movies, I can't find any that I really like. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I guess, were okay. Um, as far as the other Marvel Universe movies, can't say I really got into them. I tried. I was a huge Star Wars fan. Empire Strikes Back would be among the greatest movies ever made in my book. But if you ask me about any of the newer Star Wars movies, including the prequels that were directed by George Lucas, I would say no. Not so good. Maybe okay, fun to watch once, but not fun to watch over and over again like Empire Strikes Back was. Um, but that's right. I'm one of those relics stuck in the past, man. If you're gonna ask me what the best movies ever made was, if you ask me to pick a favorite one, like you said, I can't. I can't pick a favorite. There's so many that might be my favorite this week, but next week this other one will be my favorite. But I can definitely point to an area where you might get a pretty good idea of where my head is at.
What about genres? Do you have a favorite genre?
Of movies,
Yeah,
probably sci-fi. I love
sci-fi.
sci-fi. Love sci-fi. Huge Star Trek fan, huge Star Wars fan. I really like, I mentioned the Aliens movie as one of them. Terminator series, really great. Um, but yeah, sci-fi is the one that really gets me. And if I had to add a close second, probably I don't even know what this is called. Probably like a uh, you might have to edit this. Do a jump cut or something because it's going to come to um, adventure, historic adventure. I guess would be the one because when I said that, things like the Lord of the Rings trilogy came to mind,
Okay.
and you know, or even fantasy adventure because I think of things like The Dark Crystal, uh,
Mm.
Neverending Story, um, those type of movies, and
Labyrinth and all that.
Labyrinth. Yes, absolutely. They're yeah. And on that note, if you're going to leave this in the original video, if none of you have checked out, if none of you have Netflix and if you have Netflix and you haven't checked out the Dark Crystal series that just came out brand new,
Oh
oh my
yeah.
God, it's so good. Have you seen it?
Really? No.
It is really good. It is
Okay.
really good. You have to check it out.
All right, cool. Yeah, I've been waiting for something good to come out.
Yeah,
So, you said you like sci-fi. Have you watched a movie called Ex Machina?
no.
I would check that movie out. It's a newer movie, probably within the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years. Um, I'm in the same boat as you. I feel like a lot of Hollywood is just rehashing, and all the rehashing that's going on is just bad, just really bad.
Yeah.
But there are these like little, I guess, needle in the haystack is the thing that's coming to my mind. Where just if you search far enough or deep enough, you'll find one or two good movies here or there that kind of just get swallowed up in all the rest of the crap. And Ex Machina, to me, was one of those movies. And I watched it, and I don't know if it's just a good movie on its own, or if it's just because it's surrounded by a bunch of other crap that it like it's a decent movie, but like it makes it feel like it's such a great movie because there's nothing good out. But it's worth a watch because I think it was really well made. The acting is really well done, and the story is really interesting. So yeah, I would definitely check that movie out. Hopefully, it'll restore a little bit of faith in new movies
You know
for
what?
you.
And because you said, and you're not the first to say it to me, by the way, but I will check that out. And so, yeah, I'm there. I'll check it out because, like I said, you're not the first to say that that is actually a good one. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it actually it blew me away. I thought it was a really good movie. So hopefully you'll like it too. What about pet peeves? Do you have any pet peeves?
you you really want to know the first one that comes to my mind? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, let me get into character. Don't be that asshole who leaves your cart sitting in the middle of the Walmart parking lot. Don't be so lazy that you can't take it to the freaking cart corral that is 20 feet away.
Definitely.
Okay, I know that's way off base, but when you said pet peeves, that's the one that comes to mind because I have never found myself more angry at stupid shit because it is stupid to be mad about that. But when I pull into a parking spot at Walmart and there's a cart right there, and I'm like, who is so lazy that they can't walk it 20 feet that way to bring it? So there's my biggest pet peeve. And
Yeah.
I guess in addition to that, you know, the old adage, don't eat yellow snow. Okay, there we go.
Okay. All right. Well, that was great. I mean, I actually like taking the card back. I
Thank
think it's
you.
like
You're a good guy. I applaud you. You're the type of person that I literally see at Walmart walking their cart back to the freaking cart corral. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. See, it wasn't that hard.
yeah, it doesn't even occur to me to not take it back. It's such a weird thing. Like,
But for so many, that's really a difficult task. And we've got to start a task force
yeah.
to fix this. Okay. We got to put this into legislation. All right.
Yes.
If
Yes.
you
Let's do
don't,
it.
if you don't return your cart to the cart corral, you have to go to the re-education camp for 20 days and learn how to
Yeah.
respect other people's property the way the Japanese do.
You
I'm
know, another interesting thing about Tokyo was when I hopped on that bus to go from Tokyo to Hakone to not see Mount Fuji. The tour guide, we were getting on the on ramp onto the freeway or highway, or I don't know what they say over there. And there was a trash can on the corner, and there was a piece of trash probably about 10 feet away from the trash can. And he actually pointed it out and he said, "Oh my God, you guys are lucky. There's a piece of trash not in the trash can." And that was a thing. So I was like, okay. So I got back to Tokyo that night. And for the rest of my trip, I walked around and I looked for trash. I looked for litter. No
none.
litter. None.
Are you hearing this, America? Are you hearing this? The next time you want to the next time you want to chuck your Bud Light Chelada can out the side of your car, think about Japan and how many. Are you old enough to remember back in the 80s they had this commercial where some dude was throwing trash out of his car and there was an American Indian standing there with a tear coming out of his face?
yeah. Uh,
Maybe we need to upgrade that a little bit to modern times. Okay, every time you chuck your Chelada can out the side of your car, a little Japanese guy is standing there
I'm gonna
like,
be crying.
Kelly's gonna be crying, bro.
Yeah, man, it's gonna hit me hard.
He's seen how it can be. He's seen the future. We're living
Yes.
in the past. Pick up your damn trash. I'm sorry. Tangent again. Another tangent. Jesus, we've got almost 2 hours of my tangents.
Yeah. Oh, what's wrong with you? All righty. Well, let's see. I think there's only a couple. Oh, I gotta ask this one. What's your favorite? Even though I probably won't know what it is, but what's your favorite animated character?
Anastasia
Anastasia.
from the Idolmaster series. It's Japanese. Most of you probably never heard of it. Now, if I have to go American, and be all mainstream and stuff like that, I'm gonna say Scooby frickin' Doo.
Hmm. Why Scooby Doo?
Oh my God, has there ever been a more perfect cartoon? Do I really have to explain this? Scooby Doo was the greatest cartoon ever made until Scrappy Doo arrived, but that's another matter that we'll discuss another time. But yeah, it's timeless. You know, you've got these, you know, these five sleuthing, or well, you know, I guess it's four plus one if you can include the dog, sleuthing kids, finding all these wrongdoers, ripping off their masks, setting traps, full of comedy. Casey Kasem was Shaggy, and I don't know. I just call me old fashioned. I never saw an episode of Scooby Doo that I wasn't like, yeah, that was all
Nice. All right.
right.
Scooby Doo. Oh, yes.
Scooby
This is
Doo, Dooby
another one I
Doo.
want to know. How would your best friend describe you?
Oh my God. Probably the first. Oh, I couldn't say in complete terms, but I guarantee you, in the paraphrase version, the word asshole is going to come up once or twice because my best friend knows me in and out, and not only does he know my good points, but he knows my bad points, but he still loves me anyway. Um, and technically, so does she because I consider her one of my best friends too. That's my wife, but yeah. How would they describe me? Introverted, passionate, quiet, and very opinionated.
So when you say introverted, you mean like you look within yourself, like kind of like an introspection type thing, or introverted as in like because I I might be wrong. I could very possibly well be wrong. But to me, I thought introverted was like the type of guy that's really quiet
Yep.
and reserved.
Yep.
Really? Because
Yeah.
you don't seem like it.
Not on here because when a microphone is pushed in my face and a camera comes on, I for some reason open up. But in my reserved private life, I am actually pretty introverted. Not to the point where I'm like, you know, I wouldn't say I'm shy. I'm not afraid of talking with people. I'm more of a watcher than a participator because I like to see what's going on around me. I like to know where everybody's head is at. And I like to feel like I'm comfortable with somebody before I start sharing, you know, the biggest secrets of my life, so to speak. You know, the only time where that is an exception is for some reason, whenever this camera pops on, whenever there's a microphone in front of my face, because I did a radio show before I started doing live streams and before I started doing drum covers. It was like an escape. I don't know if
Mm,
that makes any sense, but you know,
yeah, totally.
an introvert really is kind of, you know, I'm very reserved, you know, but here's an hour or two or three or whatever it is, or a couple of minutes in a drum cover where I can just, I'm going to let it go. I'm just going to let it go. And I can hide behind, you know, that shadow of just kind of, you know, I threw this video out and it's not actually like the person who's watching my video is face to face with me critiquing me, you know.
Yeah.
I, I don't know how else to explain it. I really am introverted. I really appreciate my alone time where I can just kind of sit with my thoughts and think about what's going on. But when it comes to social situations, I'm not awkward, but I have a limit. You
Yeah.
know, I have a limit. You know, if I'm going to be in a social situation for 2-3 hours, once that 2 or 3 hours is up and I've had enough of being social, it's nothing personal. It's not that I don't like anybody. It's not that I'm an arrogant asshole or anything like that. It's just that okay, I've done the socializing I need. I need to decompress. So that's where the introvert thing comes from. As far as being introspective, yes, to a certain degree, but no, I'm a classic introvert. You know, I really
Okay.
am very reclusive.
So, it brings up another question I want to ask. Um, 'cause, you know, I think, you know, a lot of people, especially in the West, they tend to, you know, 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 they tend to, To me, because I think I'm pretty introverted also. Like if, and this is how I kind of perceive that in myself, and I wanted to ask you the same thing. If you were at, say, a get together or a party or something, and most of the people you don't know, and you're striking up conversations with, friends of friends, let's say, how long, if at all, into the conversation does the drums come up and that you're a drummer?
Never,
Exactly. Same with me.
never.
It'll never come up unless by chance they start talking about music.
Yes.
It'll never, I will never bring it up.
I won't bring it up, and if they don't bring it up, I'm not going to talk about it. And that's really like the key. If somebody starts talking drums or even music with me, then you've got my attention. I'm all into it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel you. That's exactly where I'm at.
Cool. Okay. That's great. Let's see. So I've asked this question a couple of times, and the two times that I've asked it, uh, I've gotten just pretty much like the worst response that you can get. So I kind of don't like this question, but being an introvert has opened me up to asking you if you have a favorite book.
Yes. And my favorite book, well, it's three books actually.
Oh, great. It's better than none.
It's actually three books. It's actually, and it's gonna sound mainstream, but I read the books before the freaking movies came out, and that is the Lord of the Rings trilogy,
Okay.
the original J.R.R. Tolkien books that came out. Amazing to me. I can still reread them and still enjoy them. So, if there's a favorite book, there they are.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, the couple of other times I've asked, I've gotten really uh, embarrassed. Like they were embarrassed that they don't read enough, and it's not a question that I ask uh, to make someone feel bad, and that's why I kind of don't like asking it anymore because the couple of times I've asked, they didn't read, and it kind of came off like even though I didn't intend for it to come off to make them look like they're I don't know, less intelligent for not reading. Like I don't give a shit whether you read or you don't read or whatever. It's just a question that I like to ask because um, I don't know if you've seen any of my covers where I'm singing. Usually I do the singing in this room, and I've got like a ton of books and whatnot. So it's just something that I like to ask because I read a lot, and it doesn't make me any smarter or stupider. It's just something that I like to do, and I never like to judge anyone by what they do or don't do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have asked that question, and it's gotten like um, in kind of like a awkward situation. So
Well, let me be the first to say I don't read enough either. You know, I happen to read those because there was the movies were coming out when I finally did read them, but I wanted to read them before I saw the movies because I made the mistakes of reading the Harry Potter books after the movies came out. So I wanted to reverse that, and I was very pleased with what I read and disappointed a bit with the movies, even though the movies were really good. Do you see me squirming? Do you see me
No.
squirm? I have to pee so bad. Do you have a
You-
minute where I can just like run to the bathroom or
yeah. Go ahead for
give
sure.
me like give me like a minute or two? I'm serious.
And now, before the next show starts, let's enjoy an intermission. You'll find our snack bar chock full of good things to eat and drink. Tasty, tempting hot dogs, thirst-quenching soft drinks, fresh, crunchy popcorn, a complete assortment of delicious candy, and a full line of cigarettes. You've plenty of time, so visit the snack bar now. A tasty treat will double your enjoyment of the show. For your convenience, we shall keep you informed of the remaining intermission time, 3 minutes before the next show starts. tempting snack.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Real. You can edit that in post, leave it in. I don't care, but I needed to go.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. All right, well, I think I got two more questions that I want to ask, and then we can wrap it up.
All right.
Um, shit, where was I? Okay. If you could invite anyone, dead or alive, to dinner, who would it be?
Are you ready for this one? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That would be amazing. I
That's
mean, what would you ask him?
There's not much that he didn't already answer in the book, but probably the ones that aren't answered in the book, like, dude, why mosquitoes?
Oh my God, thank you.
Why mosquitoes? No, really, that would just be amazing. If you're, among the folk that aren't of faith or don't believe that he was who he was, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not judging anybody. If you want me to pick somebody who was more contemporary, we'll say, that actually makes it harder. Alive or dead, anybody that I want to have come to dinner. Jeez. Who's somebody that I would love to pick their brain? Just love to be able to have a conversation with and pick their brain. Nikola Tesla.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I would love to know his side of the story about that feud with him and Edison.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be fascinating, and to find out more about what he was talking about, because, if you're full on conspiracy theorist, you believe that, all of his technology was buried. But I don't believe that. I'm not a full on conspiracy theorist, but definitely Edison took some pointers from him, and what those were, I'd love to know. So
Yeah. I'd love to know from him if if he really had some sort of outside help, like
yeah.
whether there were aliens involved, at least in his mind. One thing to ask him. But yeah, even going back to the Jesus answer, I think because for a long time, when I was young and dumb, I was a self-proclaimed atheist. But I think when I look back, I was really more agnostic, just trying to sound like a know-it-all
That
and
sounds
say I'm
familiar.
atheist. Um, but I think from an agnostic point of view, who better than to invite Jesus to talk to him
Yeah.
about what happened?
Even if you're not a believer, he's the one you want to
Exactly.
talk to find out what really went on, right?
Especially if you're not a believer.
Yeah.
So I love that answer. I think it's great.
Good point you made there.
Great. I got a couple, like they pop up once in a while. Last question. Are you an early riser or a night owl?
Currently an early riser. And
Huh.
you can tell from my tone that I'm not particularly happy about that.
Yeah. So I'm
I
guessing it's for the job.
It's for the job. I'm up early, and in bed at a decent hour. I get about 6 hours of sleep every night. That's enough for me, because I am at my core, in my heart, and my wife hated me for it, was a night owl. Night is when I came alive. Night is when I was ready to get anything done. But unfortunately, you learn this over the years if you're a night owl. Um, Nobody else is alive at that time. So you're all alone, which is great for an introvert, but that's great for an introvert. But if you want to actually get anything done, you want to be productive with your life, you want to have a family, you want to be involved with their lives. Yeah, being a night owl isn't so conducive to that lifestyle. So I switched from being a night owl to a morning. Well, no. Poor choice of words. I am not a morning person. Not at least until I've had 2 cups of coffee and a breakfast burrito. Then, then
Nice.
I'm okay. But I am an early riser, not
Yeah.
by choice.
All right. That's revealing because, I've had so many different I think let me just make sure here. Number Oh, you're lucky number 20.
20. What
So
what does that mean?
this is the 20th interview that I've done, and I've gotten probably a good 50-50 split between the night owl and the early riser. So, you know, it's awesome asking all of these different questions because up till now I've had so many different answers, and um, I've learned so much about all the different people in our community, and it really it's the first time that I've ever really reached out to a lot of the guys. Sal is a great example. Um, I had never even known that he existed. I've had my channel for 2 years now, and I just barely met Sal a couple of months ago, I think. And getting to talk to him and getting to know him was incredible. I mean,
He's
just
a really good dude.
he's
Such a good dude.
so cool, so like down to earth. Um, just wants to, spread his knowledge, but not in a way where he's like talking down to you. He's like just
Yeah.
talking shop with you.
Yep. Exactly.
So that's the greatest thing about these interviews that I've been doing. And I now that like I've gone through 20 of them, they're more like conversations. I think interviews is the wrong word. I think it's more of a conversation.
I'd agree
Um,
because this has felt like a conversation, like you and I are talking, not like an interview. I don't feel like I'm on the spot right now. I mean, hell, I just asked you, hey, dude, give me a minute. I gotta pee. You know,
exactly.
I'm comfortable right now, so you could pretty much ask me anything. Well, I won't go into specifics, but do you
Yeah,
wear pink underwear?
exactly.
No.
I know there's areas we haven't gotten into, probably for the better. But yeah, man, it's just been great. Like I think when I first came up with this thing where I want to interview these people in our community, you were one of the first ones that I actually reached out to, just because you're the complete package. Like when I think of a YouTube drummer, I think of someone who, first of all, has good chops. So you check that off. Second of all, has good sound. Check that off. Third of all, plays with a sort of presence. You got that. Then you get into the gear. You've got the gear. You've got the even though it's not 4K, your cameras are all on point. They're awesome. They look great. The angles, the editing, and then you've got the lighting. I mean, it's all there. Like, if anyone that I talk to is like, YouTube drum cover, like, there's still like people out there that have no idea what that is. And so when I try to explain it, you're the best, I guess, example of that. So I'll say, check this guy out. That is the consummate YouTube drummer. It's someone who is just like you and Michael Perry. You guys just seem to have everything dialed in so that it's not only fun to listen to, but also fun to watch. And that's like the whole YouTube experience. Is like now people are going to YouTube for entertainment, right? Not just to figure out, bulbs or their plumbing or whatever. They're going to YouTube for entertainment now. And you guys are the ones that I always, whenever someone wants to know more about YouTube drumming, I'll pull it up on the phone and I'll either pull up your channel or I'll pull up Michael Perry's channel, and they're like, "Oh, I get it now." So kudos to you, man. Like I've been wanting to do this interview for a while, and yeah, it's great to be able to talk to you, man.
And the pleasure's all mine. I've been looking forward to this for a while. I'm sorry it took so long. You asked me a long time ago to do this. And if I'm being honest, I've been in my own little world over this summer. And yeah, I don't know where else to go from there. I've kind of been in my own little world and I'm trying to come back into it. And I know that it's coming back because I needed to step away from the drum world just a little bit. I've been doing this so long and I've been running at it so hard for so long that I was just like, I need a break. And at first, it really scared me. I thought there was something wrong with me, and others thought there was something wrong with me. People are like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just don't." It's hard to give that answer to say, I just don't feel like playing the drums right now. That doesn't mean that in a month from now, I won't. Because right now, the itch is coming back. And I know that because I live in a state where winters are pretty cold and pretty brutal, that as long as I'm stuck inside, the only respite I'm going to have is that kit sitting right over there. So you can expect a lot of videos. It's always the summertime for me. Summertime, I'm just like, I've got other things to do. And coming back into it, it's like, here I am. And for your comments, I thank you. I don't personally think I'm one of the best examples of someone to point to when you say, here's an example of YouTube drumming. I appreciate it. I really do. And I've learned over time to not be like, oh no, you're stupid. I say that. I say thank you. I say thank you.
Yeah, please say thank you, because I can definitely go and show my friends someone like those hot chicks that play drum covers and they kill it. They kill it. They look super hot and sexy, but that's not what it's about to me. I don't think like there's something artificial with those channels.
I agree.
There's nothing artificial with your channel. It's all from the heart. It's all because you love to do it, and that to me is more important than putting on the ultimate show like those other channels do.
Well, if this on the female torso is the ultimate, I'm not gonna lie, it helps. Yeah. It helps, but no, you're not gonna get that from me. If I flashed mine, you'd all immediately unsubscribe and move on to something else. You'd be checking out some Casey Cooper, But no, I appreciate your support, and that's the best I can ask for. I appreciate you as well. You are one of the few that I have actually watched, and you've seen you do your drum covers, and then I was shocked to see. Don't take this the wrong way. Hear me to the end. I was shocked to see a video where you released you singing a song, and I was like, oh wait, what? He's gonna sing now? But then I watched the video and I was like, okay, this guy's legit. He does have the singing ability and the drumming ability. This guy is not just a drummer or a singer, he's a musician, And when I see that somebody's a musician, Oh, that's a automatic. Like I'm okay, you've got my attention, you know. Because I
Yeah,
would love to be able to do so much more than play the drums, but I'm afraid I don't have that ability. So I admire anybody that does.
yeah, that was actually, now that you say that, I wanted to ask that question, and then you went off on a. I'm going to blame it on you. You went off on a tangent.
Oh,
I forgot
I'm
about the.
full of them tonight. I'm full of them.
So yeah, you don't um play any other instruments. It's just the drums.
Just the drums. I would love to know how to play guitar, but I can't. And to a certain degree, if we're being, completely honest, everything laid out on the table, I have made a few attempts at singing. The only one that has ever made it to video was me singing backup vocals in my cover of Rammstein's Mein Teil.
Oh wow.
And and all I had to sing in that one was nine. There you go.
Great. So where can we see that?
Uh, at Beats by Jay on YouTube. Just look up Rammstein's Mein Teil cover collaboration. It was a full collaboration between me
Oh,
and two
okay.
other guys,
Got
and
it.
it was a amazing video. It's one of the ones I'm actually most proud of because it came out so well. And it's not because of me; it's because of everybody that was involved. It was amazing. It actually really, not to toot my own horn, but people actually say this is the best cover of Rammstein's Mein Teil that they've ever heard. But yeah, that was it. I've tried other times. I've tried other times to sing. A little known fact is that when I did the cover for Tom Petty's Learning to Fly, the original cover for that was going to be me playing the drums and singing. No lie, inspired by you.
Oh, cool.
Inspired by you. I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. And I recorded the drums for it. The drums were, they were good. I was happy with the drums. Then I recorded me singing the song. And I was like, oh, hell no. This ain't going anywhere. Nope, 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 nope. We're gonna let Tom handle this one. So maybe someday when I'm brave enough and I've had enough whiskey,
Yeah.
I might share me singing.
So I've actually had a couple of guys, I can't remember who've said that they've done a cover, and the band that they covered actually commented on their video. Has that ever happened to you?
Once. Just once with a band that nobody freaking knows about. And that's fine. That's fine because I like the band, and having Mike Boyko comment on my video meant a lot to me. If you've ever heard of the band Scatterbrain,
No.
no, they were kind of one of those early or late 80s, early 90s comedy heavy metal bands
Okay.
where they kind of make funny music, so to speak. Well, Scatterbrain had this video or had this song called Down with the Ship, which Down with the Ship has literally like 16 different excerpts from other famous songs blended into it, along with these crazy lyrics about I'm not going down with the ship. Nope, 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 no way. And it was just kind of a funny, I'm just going to throw this out on a freaking Saturday night, nothing special, no special editing, no special lighting, just throwing it out there. And Mike Boyko, the drummer for that band, commented on not only the video saying that was great, but I also had a little outtake section at the end of it. And he said, dude, you nailed the outtakes. That was me recording this song. And I was like, oh my God, Mike Boyko just commented on my video. That's amazing.
That's
So
cool.
it was
Cool,
fun.
man.
That was,
Yeah. I would imagine, like, it's never happened to me, but it's so cool when you know I've talked to some guys, and it's happened to them, and it really is something that kind of just sticks out, and they remember, and it's like kind of like one of those things, one of those milestones that you try to attain when you do stuff like that with
yeah.
covers and YouTube and whatnot. It would be really cool to have one of an original band member comment on a video. I think I would definitely remember that. So it's cool hearing those types of stories. I just imagine that you were over the moon.
I was. And the one that really made me over the moon was because there was an alleged story. An alleged story. So don't take this as the gospel. I don't know that it was true. But supposedly, somebody who knows, and I meant that way, somebody who knows Scott Rockenfield of Queensryche,
Oh yeah.
so supposedly said that he saw my video of Silent Lucidity, the first one, not the most recent one I did. I did a retake of it. But he never commented on it. So if that's true, he must not have thought very highly of it. So what I gotta say.
Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, that was okay. So you just brought up another question. You are not opposed to redoing covers
Nope.
that you've done before.
Nope, not at all. Because the technology has changed, my sound quality has changed, my editing has changed, and my style has, to a certain degree, changed as well. So sometimes I will go back and revisit a song that I've already played and released a video for, and I'll say, you know what? I think I can do better. And I'll record it and I'll leave it up to the audience whether it's actually better or not. You know, but at the very least, I want to be able to, because in my early days, all I was recording with was the module sounds from the Roland TD20. Decent sounds, but not the best. Now I'm using things like Steven Slate drums and Superior Drummer. Much better sound. Do
Yeah.
I think I can do something better with this? Yeah, maybe. So that's been known as, on my channel, I call it the Mulligan series. Just like golf terms, it's a mulligan. I'm
Yeah.
taking another shot at this one, and this is it. So I've done a few of those, and some have been met with positive remarks, and some have been like, yeah, dude, you probably should have just left that one alone.
Wow.
Okay, you know, whatever.
Oh man, I guess you just like you can't please all the people all the time.
No, it's impossible. If that's your expectation on YouTube, you shouldn't be on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I said, embrace your haters. Embrace the haters. You just got to love them. Give them a big hug when they send you some hate and be like, you know what? Thanks. Because no matter what, even though you're throwing shade, it's still engagement.
Yeah, totally. Cool, man. Well, geez, I'm out of questions. I just had such a blast talking with you, conversing with you.
I've enjoyed this too. This was by far the best interview I've ever had. And I can't even call it an interview. This was a conversation. Conversation. I love it.
Great, man. I hope it does something for you. I mean, I don't know what. I know that I've talked to the other guys, and I always say to get to know the person that you're watching doing covers adds to the next time you see their cover. So, you know, Sal is a great example. I probably watched like 5 covers of his before I interviewed him. And then afterwards, I've probably seen 10 or 15 more covers. And not that I didn't appreciate him before I knew him, but now it's just like on a completely different level. So that's what I'm hoping, you know, when people watch these interviews or conversations, and then they go back to your channel or whose ever channel and they watch the covers, they appreciate them more because they know the person behind the performance. You know what I mean?
I do. I absolutely do. And it's made a difference in my life because I have watched a few of your interviews, and there have been people that I was like, you know, that I've seen, like you said, I've seen a few of their videos. And then I find out who that person is behind the drum cover, and I'm even more interested now. I'm like, okay, now I can go into looking at their video and I can kind of see where their head's at. You know,
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, but you know, you can kind of see where their head's at and you can see where their heart's at. And that makes a huge difference. It really does. Because let's face it, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial right now, hopefully not too much. YouTube drum cover videos are a dime a dozen anymore. You can find them everywhere. Now,
Oh, yeah.
if you can find the artists, the creators, the people who do this, and you find those people to be honest, true, musicians that have a good heart, good place to be, and they speak to you, that makes a huge difference too. I mean, biggest example of that with me is from Mike Luke. If anybody knows Mike Luke, he's a German guy, my buddy, my friend. I call him a friend. He's not just my buddy. But he did some drum covers. But what he mostly did was he tried to expose the drum community to, we'll say, the virtues of e-drumming and how to do it and so forth. But he did an interview with me, and it was a good interview. But it's all this talk that him and I had behind the scenes that really made me know the guy and feel the guy and understand the guy. And I was like, okay, I totally get him. Same with others: Michael Fournier, Paulie G, Jeff Holden, Steve Cox, Tony Hamalainen, and Mike. Mike Perry for one, and the other Mike that I know down in Florida. Why am I forgetting his last name? This is so bad. Michael Johnson. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
MJ. These guys that I call them my homies because these are people I know, And after tonight, here we go. It's another sweetheart moment, bro. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
I think I feel it coming.
I feel like I know you now. So welcome to my inner circle, if that means anything.
Yeah, great, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean that's totally it's my aim is to not only have a band of drummer brothers, as we all call them, but to get to know each and every one of you as people, because I know we're not just drummers. We've got so much more to offer. Just like the question I asked you about being at a party and does drums ever come up? Almost never comes up because there's so much more to us, and that's basically what I'm trying to get at with these things, is that we all know that we can drum. It's what else do we do that we don't know? So that's pretty much what I'm trying to do with these interviews or conversations or whatever you want to call them. And yeah, like I feel like I'm so much closer to all the people that I've talked to, and it's really like a passion of mine doing these things, because I just get to meet new people, get to know them more better, and while at the same time, other people who watch them also get to know both of us as well.
And I appreciate that. That's where I'm at too. We all play the drums. That's cool. Who's the man or woman behind the drums? And that's the most interesting part to me. So I appreciate what you're doing. I've loved what you're doing. So, and it's an honor to me that you asked me to be a part of it. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. I mean, yeah, I'll say it again. One of the probably top three, definitely top three that I wanted to get onto this show. If I had to, I don't want to pick favorites, but there's some that are sentimental, and then there's some for the craft, and you're definitely at the top of the list as far as the craft of drumming and drumming on YouTube. The other guys are more sentimental. They mean kind of more to me. They embraced me. The first ones to embrace me in the community. You're Hato, the drummer from Japan.
I love him. I
yeah.
love that guy.
He was the first guy to see me put my cover up, and he's like, you need to go on to all classic drum covers and the drummer's den. And from there it kind of just like spread out. And if it wasn't for him, probably would have put up a video or two and then kind of just been like, all right, well, that's it, and gone on with my life. But because of him, I met everyone, and it's literally changed my life. It's weird. It's crazy.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, totally.
Amazing. You've dove further than I ever have into this community, and you know everybody. And that's cool because you're probably the person that can, really I don't want to say expose. That sounds like we're trying to do some dirty stuff. But you can really illustrate. That's a better term. You can illustrate, who the person is who is creating this stuff. We can, like I said earlier, you can see the surface. That's it. That's all you see when you see my drum covers or Tony's drum covers or Roto's drum covers and Sal's drum covers. But you sit behind a microphone and have a conversation with them, you learn a whole lot about those people. And that's why I've always liked that stuff. When people do their random live streams, where they just start talking about themselves. They're like, oh, this is stupid. I don't know what I'm even doing here. I'm like, no, dude, shut up. Tell me about yourself. I want to know you, So I appreciate what you're doing. You're doing great. Keep it up, man. It's
awesome, man.
I'm really kind of, it's kind of awesome that it came out at a round number like 20 that I'm here. I love that. But I really want you to have, at least 50 more. And somewhere in that 50, don't be afraid to come back and revisit me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I said, my opinions might change next month. Yeah. I mean, I might be like, F all these guys. I don't know. I'm kidding, but
yeah, man, your sound might be totally different. Everything could be complete. You might go straight to acoustic drums next time I come around.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, this has been amazing. I think I'm going to wrap it up. We're past the 2-hour mark, so I know that's when people start to kind of wander off and pay more attention to working on their cars than what we're talking about. So.
If anybody actually stood this video for 2 hours, kudos, bro.
Yeah, man. God bless you.
let me know that you stood the whole 2 videos, and I don't know. I'm not going to start throwing out offers and stuff like that. But wow, just wow. 2 hours of this. Me, 2 hours. What's wrong with you? No. I'm kidding.
No kidding. No, man. It's been a treat. It's been a real treat. I can't thank you enough for coming on and doing this. I had a blast, man.
Me too. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome, dude. Well, take care. Have a good night, and don't stay up too late. All right.
Oh, it's Friday. That's not possible.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and plus you're 2 hours behind me. That's right.
Yeah, it's only 9:30 here. I've still got time to go. I know it's like 11:30 where you are. So
you can go watch Ex Machina right now. All right, man. Well, have a great night, and take care. Keep on doing what you're doing at your pace. No pressure.
No pressure. Thank you, brother. Peace.
All right, man. Peace out.